For the last presentation of the block, we are happy to welcome Dr. Dawn Richards and Terry Hawrysh. Once again, feel free to post your questions or comments in the chat or send it to the CDTRP's Q&A. We will be open to discussion right after. Dawn Richards is the founder of 502 Labs Inc. and the Director of Patient and Public Engagement at Clinical Trials Ontario. As a patient, Dawn is Vice President of the Canadian Arthritis Patient Alliance and a research ambassador for the Institute of Musculoskeletal Health and Arthritis. She was also a member of the BMJ's Patient Advisory Panel and the first patient advisor of the Canadian Medical Association's Wait Time Alliance. Terry Hawrysh is a blood cancer survivor and proponent for a healthcare system that is consistent in delivering superior patient outcomes and experiences. He currently serves as Vice Chair of the Ontario Institute of Cancer Research's Patient Family Advisory Committee, where he applies his lived experience as a patient partner and patient advisor on a variety of key preclinical and clinical research programs. We will share their pre-recorded presentation, and they will be joining us for the Q&A session right after.
Hi there, we're here to talk about integrating patient, family, and donor partners in clinical trials. We are here on behalf of Clinical Trials Ontario, an organization primarily funded by the Government of Ontario to make Ontario a better place to do clinical trials. We'll be talking about patient and public engagement, and really, while we're an Ontario-based organization, everything that we'll talk about is applicable throughout Canada. My name is Dawn Richards. I'm the Director of Patient and Public Engagement at CTO. My Twitter handle is here, so feel free to share anything from the presentation. While I'm a basic scientist by training, I also live with rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis. And I'll pass it off to my co-presenter, Terry, to introduce himself.
Hi, and good afternoon. My name is Terry Hawrysh. I'm a cancer survivor of a rare form of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And over the years have developed an interest in clinical research. And I'm happy to be here today to share with you some of my experiences and perspectives I've gained as a patient partner in clinical research. And also my Twitter handle is there, and feel free to reach out with any questions. And thank you very much for being here.
So Terry works with me at CTO as part of the College of Lived Experience. And Terry, I'll pass it off to you to talk about the college.
Okay, thanks, Dawn. Grateful to be part of this wonderful group since its inception, and really proud of the work that we've accomplished. And here's the slides, a really quick overview of Clinical Trial Ontario's College of Lived Experience. So the College of Lived Experience is CTO's patient family advisory group, and composed of a diverse group of patients and family members who have an interest in applying their lived experience to the betterment of clinical trials in Ontario. And drawing on its collective lived experience, college provides input and ideas into CTO projects and is always available to support our research and patient community in many ways. And note that the college is not disease or condition specific, and it's large enough that its members can participate in projects that mesh with their availability and interests. In summary, we like to think that we successfully created an environment where our group effectively shares, collaborates, applies, and learns as we participate. Thank you, Don.
Great. And this is one of the projects that Terry and his fellow college members have helped contribute to, and that's CTO's approach to patient and public engagement. We kind of have 5 principles that we adhere to, and we really encourage others who do this work to do the same. So one is having resources, which includes a budget to support engagement. That also includes me as a resource to lead these efforts. And we do offer our college members and others an honorarium if they wish to receive it for their time, expertise, and work. We try to be as flexible as possible around meeting times and approaches. So not everyone can make it to meetings. Are there other ways they can contribute? And can we try and make meeting times so that as many people as possible can join us? A big part of my job is communicating clearly around expectations related to projects and in a language and ways that make sense for our patient partners. Closing the loop is a big part of what we do in terms of circling back to individuals to let them know how their insights and inputs impacted the project, how they maybe changed the project results, and what the next steps might be for projects. And Terry's already mentioned that we developed the college to be a large group, so there isn't pressure on any one member to participate. So we know that life and health gets in the way. Sometimes people just aren't interested in some of the topics of our projects. And we wanted to make sure that people felt okay with saying no to things from time to time, but they still would feel confident that there would be a perspective shared from a patient and public perspective. Terry, anything you'd like to add here?
Yeah, just to pick up on the honorarium piece, I think it's important to note that our patient partner contribution is well recognized by CTO, which is really gratifying in consideration of our time, effort, and expertise. So the honorariums are offered for our contributions. And why shouldn't our advisory work be recognized for the value we bring? Lots has been written on this topic and about the merits and methods associated with meaningful compensation for patient partner advisory efforts. And online, you could visit CIHR, the Canadian Institute of Health Research, and the website of the Strategy for Patient-Oriented Research. And there's some good guidance there as well, if interested. Thank you.
I'm going to pass it over to Terry to speak for a few minutes about his experiences being part of a clinical trial team, since at CTO, we don't do clinical trials ourselves, but we do support the environment. So Terry, go ahead.
Thanks, Don. So a bit of a preamble to the slide. Although as a cancer survivor, most of my focus has been on cancer research, but much of what I've learned can be generally applied to patient engagement across a variety of therapeutics and devices being studied through clinical trials. On an optimistic note, since my initial engagement as a patient partner about 6 years ago, I've seen a growing recognition and acceptance by the research community of the importance of incorporating the lived experience of patients and family members in the clinical trial process. However, there's a few organizations out there that are still slow to embrace this, but for a number of good reasons: lack of training, lack of awareness, resource constraints, but they're becoming fewer and fewer as awareness grows. So back to the slides. What activities does a patient partner typically contribute to a clinical research project? Well, yeah, there's a wide variety, but here are some typical ones that I've been involved with. And if I could just make an important recommendation here, it's very important that research institutions embrace patient engagement in the earliest stages of the research cycle and across all stages right through to the end. So some of the activities, providing research grant application input, research application reviews and letters of support for the application, providing input into the research question for the study to ensure focus on what's important to the patient community, and also providing input into the design or the protocol of the clinical trial, That's through things like identifying barriers enablers to supporting or dissuading patient accrual in the trial, and ensuring impactful outcomes and experiences are achieved through the clinical trial design. Creating and review of patient-facing materials, so those participating have a clear lay understanding of the clinical trial process, the science behind the therapy and device being studied, and an understanding of the very complex informed consent process, and also access to effective communication tools. So this really allows patient or trial participants to make more informed decisions about whether they want to participate, helps them communicate more effectively with the research staff, and also helps them gain a sense of control over their participation. And of course, upon trial completion, sharing patient partnership learnings at conferences and webinars, and co-authorship and the publication of the research. So besides the importance of incorporating patient engagement through these activities, I've also observed some other factors, and I'll call them human factors, that enable effective patient partnership engagement and good experiences for all parties collaborating on a clinical trial project. So these are the importance of proper onboarding of patient partners by the research team. So prior to committing, patient partners have clear understanding of expectations and roles and training that can be provided. And the communication between all parties involved must be clear, understandable, and frequent. And patient partners should also should always be available to provide their input without any fear of ridicule. Mutual respect is important. Patient partners must be treated as part of the research team, with all parties striving to foster professional, collaborative, and supportive culture. And please note that tokenistic patient partner participation with researchers is checking boxes regarding our participation. I think that is very counterproductive to achieving meaningful patient-centric clinical trial research. A collaborative approach really works best. Researchers need to be accommodating, as many patient partners are still managing their disease and treatments. So creating a safe, accommodating space is important. Now, the flip side of this is that patient partners should try as hard as possible to live to their commitment and to the clinical trial and contribute to the best of their ability. And last but not least, listening to each other and respecting diverse views leads to effective collaboration and good positive group dynamics. And the ability to actively listen to each other is a super critical skill. Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. So there's actually evidence emerging about patient engagement in clinical trials. There are potential benefits as well as potential risks. And Terry's talked a lot about the benefits through some of the work that he's done. So I won't go through all of these, but basically by engaging people who live with the condition for which the trial will be designed, they know what it's like to live with it. They can help decrease the burden for other participants. That leads to better enrollment, maintaining their participation. There are lots of ways they can help in dissemination. And lived experience really complements the, I'll say, the training and the book experience that a number of other people on the trial team have. Now, as a flip to that, there are potential risks. Research takes a long time. Patient partner suggestions aren't always feasible. This takes resources. Tokenism is a real possibility. We don't even realize it, but people are reliving often painful and traumatic experiences that can actually be re-triggered by their participation. And there's not a protocol to do this. And that's what a lot of scientists and researchers are used to, that in science and in medical research, there's a protocol they follow. And so they're a little bit unsure about how to do patient engagement. Terry, would you like to speak to the last point about diversity here?
Yeah, just to reiterate the importance of this last point, and it's vitally important that researchers engage as many patient partners as possible to reflect the demographics of the patient population that the therapy or device being studied intends to serve, and diversity, equity, and accessibility matters in the conduct of proper research. Thanks, Don.
So lastly, Terry and I are here to say, do not fret. We have tools that can help you either be a patient partner or engage with patient partners on trial teams. These decision aids have been co-created with patient partners. They're modeled on healthcare decision aids where you learn something, you reflect, you learn again, you make some decisions. So they're self-guided, they're interactive, they're available on CTO's website, and they have lots of tools and resources embedded within them, and they're available for you in English and French. So we really hope that you'll take a look at these, and we're happy to hear any feedback you have about them as well. Terry, anything you'd like to add to this one?
Just really quickly, super tools, and they are presented in a very clear, usable, lay manner. So very, very easy to understand and very helpful. Thanks, Don.
And with that, Terry and I are going to wrap up. We'd like to thank you for your time and attention. And we've left our email addresses and our Twitter handles. We're both really happy for you to reach out if you've got questions after today's presentation, and we'll be happy to engage with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.